Welcome back to Major League Sorare. It's TrippinB and DraftKicks, the show on Sorare TV. We focus on the America division. We have a hyper focus on Major League Soccer because it's the crazy league that we all love. And welcome, everybody. Thanks for celebrating this fun league with us and the game of Sorare all at once. DraftKicks, how you doing today?
Doing well, man. Still undefeated in my YMCA soccer coaching. We had a game last night, tied 4-4. We gave up 4 penalty kicks. We're talking U14 YMCA soccer. Okay. So, still undefeated though. So that's I'm feeling good.
Any 15-year-olds sneaking in this league?
No, actually. So my 12-year-old is kind of he's carrying somewhat. He scored 2 of the 4 goals. I had him at center back, holding it down. My 9-year-old was out there, and I said, I might have to roster you to.
Wow.
I think he could compete. So no 14-year-olds, but I might add him to the roster next game. So
yeah, that's how you get better, is by competing against older competition. Everybody who's played youth sports knows that for sure. We got a lot to do today. We're going to talk about game week 367 on Sorare, Major League Soccer week 9. I can't believe we're already 9 weeks into the season. We're approaching 33% of the way through the season, which is crazy, but there is Leagues Cup coming up. There's Gold Cup interruptions in the summer, so we got a long way to go. We're going to talk about Lister Play. Lister Play is huge. It's the whole new thing. It's the hot new game on the streets. It's a new decision, a new wrinkle that DraftKings has thrown, that Sorare has thrown at us. I'm looking at you. I see DraftKicks. I start thinking of DraftKings, our old school roots back in the day. Sorry. And we will talk about the definite decisives, of course. And we're going to get at some amateur draft. We've had some calls for some amateur draft talk, some strategy ideas, and we will get into all of it. We're going to start with something we wanted to get a little bit more, because one thing we talked about, we don't do a ton of takeaways. So we don't do a lot of looking back on the show. We were trying to do like a Sunday night recap show, and it just we never really had the time. It was tough to book a different guest every single week. I do a recap show with the MLS Card Guy on Sorare in the States podcast, so you can definitely listen to that if you want my longer form recap thoughts per week. You're usually coaching on Sundays, right? DraftKicks, which is why you couldn't do it. So give me some of your takeaways now. Back. Yeah, give me some takeaways from game week 365 of thoughts that you think about things that happened. There were some big news, including goalie injuries, the worst possible news you could get in Sorare.
Yeah, that's some of the more important talk, I think, once you dive into trying to kind of go back through a game week and process everything that happened. I think it's important to, highlight some of the takeaways. And so, yeah, obviously, we've been hitting on Quentin Westberg for Atlanta. Once Brad Guzan went down, Westberg stepped in. He subbed in for Guzan, and then he started. And
life was good. Life was good for us because we were holding Westberg's from last season in this whole Toronto drama, and we were loving life. It was like, oh, Westberg's in. Let's go. He's back.
Right. Yeah, I had him in my Cap 240 lineup. So I'm actually, talking about being on the road. I'm traveling back from a soccer event on the road, and I checking scores, look down at my phone, and sure enough, it's that dreaded halftime keeper sub. Like, what the hell is going on here?
We all hate to see it.
Yeah, and so fearing the worst, I'm like, oh, surely not. Guzan goes down, Westberg, who's next? And from what I saw, it looks like Westberg maybe tweaked something in warmups. I don't know if you
so he said he landed awkwardly in warmups on the knee and was feeling it, and then took a knock on that same knee.
Okay. In the game, I think he made a kick save or something. Yeah, made a kick save, and then I think it kind of might have flared back up. And so Clement Diop, the third string in Atlanta, subbed on at halftime. And so right now we're kind of waiting and seeing how severe the Westberg injury is. From what we can tell from social media, from watching the replay, watching it live, whatever, Westberg seemed fine. I mean, he seemed like he was shaking it off. He was laughing it off on kind of chumming it up with his teammates.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I'm still,
but it just creates uncertainty, and it's like, who do you start? Right. Can you Westberg is my go-to Cap 240 rare and super rare goalkeeper, in this point, and it's like, but now he can't be because it's like I don't know if he's even going to start.
Yeah. It's for me. It's a wait and see. Just
Will we get news? Will we get the news?
Well, I'm keeping an eye out on Twitter. I'm watching all the Atlanta beat writers. I'm not going to go ahead and roll Westberg out this week. Just if I don't know for sure that he's 100% starting.
Neither am I.
He might be in a just kind of dead lineup.
Unless we know.
Unless we know like for sure he's back.
One of the hopeful lineups, as we call them sometimes. Yeah. Right. He's in a hopeful. It's not a real lineup. It's a hopeful.
That's right. But hey, Diop actually he gave up a goal, but he actually made a pretty solid save on that goal. If you go back and watch the replay,
he made the save and then they scored the rebound, right?
Yeah, he came out. I mean, I would say Atlanta's defenders could have done a better job of helping him out there, but who knows, man?
That even adds to the uncertainty, though, is that Diop is no joke, and he's a legit threat, and it just like. We're just back in the same boat we were with Westberg and Bono. Now it's just Westberg and Diop. That's how I feel about it. So shout out to friend of the show, Gator Guy, who instantly bought a Diop as soon as he's watching the game and sees Westberg subbed, and then instantly flips it for just a quick little dose. Just a little dose. And we will, the sweet dose of ETH comes in many forms. So shout out Gator Guy. We'll talk about the doses of results real quick in a second. A couple more quick takeaways. You loved Melia and Marks. Both stood out to you in goalkeeping performances as well.
Yeah, Melia stood on his head. I mean, kept Sporting Kansas City in the game at New England. They ended up losing 2-1, but went back and watched the replay of that one. He came up big on several occasions. Okay. Heel owners had to be hating Melia in that moment because he definitely he showed out, and he showed why he's probably the number one in Kansas City right now, ahead of Pulskamp, which that's another one to keep an eye on because Pulskamp stepped in last night. Sporting Kansas City played in the Open Cup, which is not covered by Sorare. But they got a 3-0 win in the U.S. Open Cup. So Pulskamp actually, it was a weird one. He actually fouled somebody in the box, gave up a penalty kick, but then saved the PK. So I saw several
Decisives night.
I saw several Sporting Kansas City fans just laying it on the Sporting KC social media, saying, "Hey, why are you guys giving this guy credit? He's the reason why they have a PK in the first place." Don't give him that much love for saving it, but whatever. I mean, hey, saving a penalty kick is impressive. But I think Tim Melia's still the number one there in Kansas City, and like I said,
I think it's just a chance for Pulskamp to get work last night for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, Melia, I mean, 7 saves somewhere around there.
And a center back gets a red card, and you still hold New England to just 2 goals.
Yeah, gave him a shot at getting a result. It didn't happen, but. Sporting Kansas City have a pretty good matchup this week. I think Melia's going to be back in goal, and I'm actually considering.
Spoiler.
We can talk a little bit more about this later in the show, but I'm actually considering.
For later. Yeah, I'm considering
my Cap 240 keeper.
Yeah, I'm also considering Melia as my Cap 240 keeper. So we might as well get into that sweet dose of ETH real quick, and that's like it's so great to see like the people in the Discord, all the people who are joining the Major League Sorare community. Get into this whole terminology of the sweet dose of ETH, because this is something that you and I used to like whenever you'd hit the threshold, you'd give a little pill emoji, for a little dose, or maybe a syringe emoji if you're really feeling dicey. But just like it feels good to hit the ETH. And so like last game week, I told you like no one really cares about anybody else's fantasy team. I get it, but I do want to show off since it's our show, I guess, and we get the right to do this. That I hit the triple dipple. For the sweet dose.
Trifecta.
The trifecta, limited, rare, and super rare. Shout out Femenios, who's a goalkeeper for Levante, who I heard news that he was like taking over as starter, and I got him for super cheap, and he's paid off for sure. Goalkeepers are cheaper these days than they used to be for sure. But shout out Stuver. Shout out to everyone who contributed in these lineups. Palazone, the secret goat from La Liga. Swiderski, the goal scorer for Charlotte, Jordi Vandenberg back, Austin Trusty doing work. James Sands had an assist ripped away for VAR, which I don't know. That was a close one for me. I think Sands should have got that assist, but it's the all right. So when you get the triple dose, you put the all right McConaughey emoji, and you go from there. I had one other decent result from my game week last weekend. I got second place in Cap 220 rare with literally the very last lineup that I built. Like the literal throw-ins got a podium, although in Cap 220 rare it doesn't really count because you don't really win much. I won a tier 2 rare for second place, and Alejandro Balde for Barcelona. So there you go. Any good results for you from 365 that you want to shout out? Did you get your doses, or then we will move on to the preview?
Let's not talk about my doses, but I'm super pumped for you, brother.
No doses.
No,
your dose list?
Seriously.
Oh, a weekend with
we'll call it
Peppers, man.
We'll call it the blessing and the curse, because I had Latif Blessing as my forward and super rare, and limited. Oof. No idea that he was heading back to Ghana to bring his family back to the States, which that's what I said. It's a blessing and a curse, because obviously cursed my Cap 240 lineups. I'm not mad about it though, because I'm a family guy. I love, I know that he's this might actually like spurn him on to just kick some ass this season. So he's got his family there with him. But yeah, so I had blessing, goose egg, and 3 of my Cap 240 lineups. I was hitting around 200 in all of them without that, and so I feel like blessing would have been that 50.
Right, he had a 50 in him.
Yeah, to get me.
He probably would have scored on Amelia, and then would have completely invalidated our previous segment.
That's right. So I didn't get that sweet dose, but dude, I'm so pumped for you, man. Like I can tell you, like right now, 2 or 3 weeks ago when we were on this show, then you were down in the dumps about not winning shit.
Was I? I don't even remember those.
Now here you are, just like plowing through the ETH. You're picking up rewards. But no, I'm pumped for you, man. Keep it rolling. I had a nice, I don't know, I say nice run in All-Star Rare. I think I finished around 200th. I got a Scott McTominay, little Manchester United card, and so I don't know. I might end up selling that one off, but we'll see. I'm scraping a few rewards off the bottom, off the middle of the chart, but I'm not pulling in that sweet dose like you are.
We'll get there. Well, let's talk 367, and let's start with the odds check like we always do. It's it's ups and downs. We'll see what happens. I've already got a huge injury concern for my lineups this weekend, so things are already looking challenging for this TrippinFC. Let's talk about odds, and you wanted to sort of focus. If you're looking at top 3 matchups that will generate Sorare points along with these odds, is what you said we should talk into. And I think right away we've got one, which is Nashville and Atlanta. I think there's a really good chance for a lot of points there. Nashville tends to get a rack up a ton of defensive stats when they're at home, whether it's a clean sheet or not. And Atlanta gets a lot of peripheral points, whether they're scoring goals or not. So I think that's a good one. Crew is one of the biggest favorites of the week against Inter Miami. Inter Miami is Phil Neville almost on the way out, or what do you think?
He's on the hot seat for sure.
Well, he's hot seated.
And I want to say for that, just jumping back to that Nashville game real quick. I know we hit on Giacomakis last week. His injury seems to have re-aggravated it. And so something to keep an eye on. I mean, I feel like, Nashville's in a really good spot here with Atlanta having that keeper conundrum, and then also Giacomakis being, I mean, look, the guy's scored, 4 goals and 4 starts, or 5 goals and 5 starts.
Like, score goals.
Goal machine, And so without him, then I don't know, Miguel Berry, a Chop Chol, which we've shouted out on the show.
Minutes.
Chol, he bagged a goal, I think, a couple weeks ago. So
he did.
Anybody that picked that card up, if you had him in a just random odd lineup, then there you go.
Yeah, but Amada, Araujo, Lennon, like those guys are good at racking up points. Even Santiago Sosa has been cracking the starting lineup, getting defensive stats. So DC United is favored at home against Charlotte FC in a game I will be at. It's my first Charlotte FC away day of the year.
Oh, wow.
Cannot wait. Yeah, I'll be driving up to DC Saturday morning. Going to be a lot of fun. We got a party going on up there. New England favored against Cincinnati. Cincinnati in a bit of free fall. New England's just good. I didn't think they'd be this good this year, but they're back to almost their 2 years ago form, surprisingly. Orlando City, this is a weird matchup. They get to host a West Coast team traveling all the way across the country, but Orlando City seems to be dealing with a Champions League hangover, and Mauricio Pereira was not in training yesterday, and neither was Duncan McGuire. So I'm starting to get worried about my Mauricio super rare in terms of playing him this week in a key lineup this weekend. I'm so weak and so rare in super midfield. It sucks because of Reynoso's fault, but yeah.
Yeah, Pereira has been hit or miss, as has Orlando City. I know we've got some Orlando City guys in our Discord. Shout out to Taco Slayer and MCG. One of those guys said something like they feel like Orlando is going to take it to LA this weekend, which
I think they will. But the problem is I can't trust who's going to play because of injuries.
I don't know. I feel like LA, the Galaxy are finally starting to hit their stride too. Puge is looking really good. Chicharito's back.
Yeah, back-to-back decisives for Cheech.
I feel like the Galaxy could go in there and get a result like DC did this weekend.
McG, Taco Slayer, bring your wrath on DraftKicks in the Discord for sure. Austin is even money at home against San Jose. San Jose lost in the U.S. Open Cup last night, so they seem to never care about that tournament. The Fire, small favorite. St. Louis favored against the Reeling Timbers. Sporting against Montreal, Salt Lake, and Seattle. It's a weird kind of Seattle's like just by a fingernail favorite on the road there against Real Salt Lake, and Vancouver with a tasty little matchup at home against Colorado. I think that's another one of my top 3 matchups for points. And Minnesota United, Dallas. Just please play Nicosi. The other one I like for points, I would say, I don't know, maybe if Espinosa's back in. I don't know. Austin's not racking up a ton of SO5 points right now. Tough for me to pick my top third one, but give me a matchup that you like to generate a lot of so rare points, my friend.
Yeah, I absolutely love the Sporting Kansas City Montreal game. I feel like Sporting Kansas City starting to get some pieces back. They've lost a couple. Agata's out for a few weeks at least, but Polito's back. Gotti Kenda is coming back around. They just picked up a big win in U.S. Open Cup. And so I feel like this game could be a springboard at home against Montreal. Like they should see this as a win. Johnny Russell, Daniel Shallowy.
Danny Shallows, we love him. He's a friend of the show.
Eric Tommy. Yeah. I mean, I feel like play all your Sporting Kansas City this game. Just unload them. I feel like this is the game that they could finally just go off and
we are all SKC.
A big result. Yeah, I'm all in on SKC this week. Love that game. I like the Crew at home. I hate to say it, man. I like DC United at home against Charlotte coming off a big road win in Orlando.
Please.
I know you'll be in attendance, but hey.
Just because we played our 75% of our starters from the beginning last night in the U.S. Open Cup, and 2 of them got hurt. And we don't know why the hell is Copetti still in the match. Yeah, and Copetti played 65 minutes, and then we started 2 of our DPs. One of them got hurt. Subbed the third one in 30 minutes to go, even though he never plays more than 70 minutes in a league game. I don't know what was going on. I really don't know what was going on.
You got the result though. You're on to the next round of the U.S. Open Cup. Okay, you got something to hold on to there.
The cup is important. You got. We could have done what San Jose did, which was rest every single one of their players except for Jackson Ewell. It seemed like, and they lost. So to a U.S. team. Cup set city, baby, late at night. So we're talking about game week 367 for MLS. We're talking about. We just looked at the odds. Let's look at the matchups because. Sorry, my cat is messing with my computer here. So that's a funny live update. Matchup wise, who stands out from a so rare scoring perspective? It's a lot of South American teams, but finally when we get down to MLS, it's Columbus Crew, and we love what they bring. Lucas De La Reon finding form. Is Cucho back? The Crew feels like a team you really might want to stack this weekend if you've got the pieces. Maybe pick up 1 or 2 more and go big with this squad. One of the biggest favorites on the slate.
Yeah, I love their matchup. Cucho is back. I think he was on the bench this weekend. I don't think he came off the bench. I think
he did not.
Yeah, and so Crew's
they lost to Charlotte as favorites. I don't know if you. Yeah, I know you're big on DC this weekend, but
no, I did see that. That was a big result for Charlotte. Yeah, it's a big result.
I'm just saying.
Could be a nice bounce back spot for the Crew, and I feel like Cucho could make his return in this game, but I think he's gonna. Yeah, I think he's gonna come off the bench. So I feel like Christian Ramirez, if our guy out there won the CRAM card.
Yeah,
this could be one of the last weeks until something else happens.
I would sell. This is your week to sell the CRAM giveaway card that we gave away on this show,
or use it and win something.
No.
I feel like CRAM could
sell
come
it
through.
while you can, because I mean, what's 1 week's prize? Is that really worth the complete lost utility for the whole rest of the season? I'm not sure.
No, how about a point? I don't feel like Kucha is going to start for at least maybe 2-3 more games, but we'll see.
Yeah. Scrolling down the list a little further, you can see DC United here, who you shouted out has some of the best defensive matchup numbers on Sorare data on the entire slate, with like 58, 56, 59 through the goalkeeper to midfield. I scrolled higher up on this page. Vancouver has a 50-plus matchup in every single position on Sorare data, which is interesting. I really do like Vancouver. And home against Colorado has just been Colorado's doing a little bit better right now, but home against Colorado has been kind of a nuts matchup all season. And do you like Vancouver's chances to get some goals on the board and get some SO5 points? And I don't know. I do. Do you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I love that matchup. I will definitely be rolling out Gressel. I've got Takaoka and Limited. I'll be rolling with him. I've got Veselinovic, some Tristan Blackman. I've
got a Tristan card for sure.
Yeah.
This might be – is this the Ryan Gauld? Is this the time to go unleash Gauld or what?
Oh, yeah. Gauld he's been under the radar. He's definitely off to a slow start, but I feel like people are sleeping on him. Like, he's a really good player. Just does a lot of things across the board that – I feel like he's kind of a ticking time bomb. He's a guy that could show up with he could show up with an 80 this game. And so I will I've got a Ryan Gauld and both rare and limited. I will definitely be
proud of you
deploying them with no hesitation.
Yeah, I want to see. Show us your Whitecap stacks, please, for sure. Let's talk lister play. Because this is the big picture. More to come. If you want more strategy talk for the weekend, join us in the Discord. That's all I can say. The link should be in the description here. You can tweet us for the link. You can do whatever you need to get the link to get in that Discord. We're approaching 100 members, I think, if I last count. I think we might be approaching 80, to be honest, to be a little more transparent. But if you're the 85th member of the Discord, you will get a special shout out on the next episode. So
are you going to throw a limited card out there for him or anything?
No, not necessarily. That whole thing can be manipulated. I just want to offer a shout out. Anyway,
we're not that big yet.
List or play. Can you believe Sorare hit us with a new rule? It's pissed a lot of people off. That's another big discussion in the Discord, in many Discords and Twitter arguments and quote unquote conversations all across social media. Where do you stand on list or play here in the first week where it's viable? It's a real big deal, and it's actually weighing into. We're going to do a live list or play. We're going to take it. This is every show that does Sorare has talked about list or play. We're going to give you a live list or play demo, Schuyler, and I want you to just take it. Can you take us through this?
Yeah, absolutely. So I initially was kind of like everybody. My first thought was like, "What the hell are they doing? Like, this is BS." I was not thrilled with it. But honestly, I do feel like it's helped just kind of open things up in the market a little bit. I mean, it's definitely gonna hinder some sales, but it's gonna make people have to be a little bit more proactive as far as buying and selling. And
the general complaints are that means fewer good cards are listed, so it's harder to acquire good cards, which makes it harder for like people who might come in with a lot of money to spend, but they can't find the good cards to buy because people don't want to sell them, or they don't want to even list them. They don't even want to start the negotiations. There's that argument. There's the other argument that it's pointless and then it makes it harder to play the game. And we shouldn't be like turning people off by making the game harder to play. There's the argument of like people are getting their lineups canceled by accident and things like that, So that these are some of the reasons people are against it. I actually kind of like it because it's like, it just on a pure game level, I like the idea of more decisions having to be made. I think that makes for a deeper game, and whether that's good or bad can be kind of up for debate still. But like at least it is like a thought towards more gameplay and like having to like decide, am I going to do this or am I going to do that? And then the other thing is, I do think it's kind of like trying to drag the market up by the hair, instead of push it up by the feet, you're trying to drag it up by the hair. by like forcing artificially decreasing supply because people delist more, people won't list as much now because they're playing. You can either list or you can play. So if you're playing more, then you're listing less. It's kind of like George Costanza and Elaine Benison, the old Seinfeld. It's just like he's doing a lot of importing, exporting. I'm trying to get him to do a little less of the importing, a little more of the exporting. You're listing, you're playing. But when you are playing, you can't list. And so then there's fewer things listed. It's an artificial decrease of supply. Do you think that is something that we've had arguments? I would say these are actually good discussions in our Discord from people that have like good thoughts on the issues about like, is this really actually making a sustainable market or a stabilized market? And the point I read that was made was like, if you want to stabilize the market, you want more transactions, not fewer, et cetera, et cetera. These are some of the general thoughts around list or play, but I don't know. Ultimately, I'm kind of falling where you are, where it's actually good.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I feel like you made some good points there for sure. I do feel like it definitely kind of ups the ante a little bit. Like it makes it more of a real transaction. I feel like there was so many loose sales out there that people were just throwing things up on the market just to have it up there, maybe posted way higher than the actual floor. And so now you're doing away with a lot of that stuff. You're getting right into the nitty gritty and saying like the transfer you brought up there on the screen, if you want to bring it back up, and somebody reached out to me this morning and said, shout out to Jeff07. He said, are you serious about selling Fry? Because I'm really interested in him. I did not have him listed. I actually had Fry in a training lineup. And so I said, yeah, I like this offer. I originally bought Fry for, I think, around 0.9 ETH. He's churned out several rewards for me. He's been my go-to Cap 240 keeper. But I've been kind of left a little bit thin on my defense for Cap 240 super rare. And so I said, this move right here might open up some ETH, might help me bring in another defender. And then maybe I can hopefully find a cheaper Cap 240 super rare keeper, which looking at Tim Milia.
Timmy Meals, your guy. Our guy, unfortunately.
Please delay the show for 24 hours.
So that this sinking ship. Yeah, you dragged me into this boat for sure.
Yeah. And so if I can get Tim Milia for maybe half of what Fry is, which he's going for about an ETH. I think if you look at his last swap, it was around 1.2 ETH. And so Jeff said, look, let's do 0.8 and Lucas Zelleron, which is about 1.1 in value. And I'm good with that. If you look at the rewards that Fry's got me, then he's definitely kind of paid off the return on investment for sure. And so, yeah, this is going to open up some stuff for me. So I'm going to go ahead and accept it. But I want you guys to see there's this warning here. Accepting this trade will unregister your training center team. So I'm not that mad about a training center team. I love the XP that you can get from your training center teams, but I'm not.
We've seen horror stories on Twitter of people being like, oh my gosh, I just lost a lineup because I didn't see this message. It's like the message is right there, big and red, like flashing in front of your face.
Yeah, accepting this trade will unregister your live training center team 5 lineup, upcoming 240 cap super rare. So whatever, like let's accept it. There it is again. There's the warning. I hit accept and there's another warning. So anybody that's throwing a fit about this, like I don't understand. You've got the warnings right there in place. Hit accept. And boom, there it is. Transfers in progress. So
wow. Talk about a sweet dose of ETH.
Yeah, there you go. I'm over 1 ETH for the first time in a while. You hit refresh and see if that plugs it in. It might take some time for it to
yeah, it'll take a few minutes, but hey, I mean that's a live demo of list or play right there, dude. Because you're so can you show us your lineup being canceled now?
Yeah, let's
while we wait for the ETH to come through, because it'll take a second for the ETH to come through for Zelleron to show up on your page. But obviously, you now have one fewer training team. Yeah, it's not confirmed.
My canceled lineup right there.
Yeah.
So Fry's out, and I miss the XP on these guys. It is what it is, but I'd rather have the sale.
Wow. And still putting XP on that Busio. That's a really optimistic move there in my personal opinion. But maybe he'll come back to MLS someday. Who knows?
He's young. Yeah, he's what? He's still under 20, right? Is he?
I'm sure KC would love to have him back right now. I can guarantee that for sure.
Oh, and when in the off season, then you always see him on Sporting Kansas City's social media. He's always chumming up with the guys, hanging out. So it's gonna happen at some point. Busio back to MLS. I hope it happens sooner than later because he's not doing anything out there in Italy right now.
Yeah, well, au revoir, arrivederci, as they say in Italy, to Stefan Fry, super rare card for you. And that's going to make it harder for you to play Cap 240 super rare, like you said. But ultimately, you get a great midfield rare card back, like an elite Zelarayan card and a big sweet dose of ETH. And if you can flip it into Amelia super rare, then you're probably in a good position. So good luck. Hopefully, so you have it does take a few hours after we record this. The episode doesn't just instantly drop. It takes several hours of editing and processing and quality check and stuff like that. I know we do quality check things here on Sorare TV. So you got time. The clock's ticking for you, Schuyler. By the time this publishes, you may or may not have your Amelia super rare, but we'll see.
Yeah, I might end up with Westberg as my starting super rare keeper again, and just praying that he overcomes that knee injury. But if not, then I've got to start getting to work here. So as soon as we get off this show, then I'm going to be making some moves.
I love it. My dream for Westberg when he left Toronto was to go to France and play in League Two, and I was going to use him as just a threshold keeper in the second division of France. But he went to Atlanta as a backup, somehow found his way in the starting lineup, and then poof, he's gone.
2 games later.
Once again. Yeah, exactly. So let's quickly talk amateur draft, and then we'll do the definite decisives, because we've had a lot of people in the Discord saying, hey, show us your amateur drafts. What's your amateur draft all about? So I want to get into that for sure. We might as well. I'm going to pop my screen up while you get yours ready. I know you need to buy a swap, right? You already did a swap, and now you're short a swap, and so you spend some time in the club shop, if you don't mind swapping, while I go through what I've got here. I have a pretty good team. I actually swapped out Almada last week because he's just because he's it was a huge cap hit, and it was kind of handcuffing any moves, and he in theory he's leaving in the summer anyway, right? So at some point you might as well phase him out. So my team, my squad here is Buanga, Swiderski, Brugman, Zelarayan, Brandon By, Carlos Tehran, and then Barraza Brady. So I've invested most of my budget here in forwards and mids, as you can see. Brugman is a secret goat, by the way. If you're not caught on to what Gaston Brugman's doing in SO5, you should definitely get familiar. He's a super short mint. He has very few cards. So in theory, compared to prices, a year ago, this guy would be trading at a 0.75 rare, or even approaching an ETH, I feel like. And right now he's probably 0.25, I think, last time I checked. But Buanga's balling, Swiderski's getting on the decisives. My defense is a little weak. So, in talking through this whole draft swap process, it's who do I sub out? Well, I have sort of a Brady Tehran stack. Do you think that's the real deal? Do you think they're going to be okay against Red Bulls draft kicks? I don't know. What is Chicago Fire hosting Red Bulls? Is that a clean sheet spot potentially, or not to put you on a definite decisive?
Yeah, I like Brady at 40. I think I've got him in my MLS draft lineup as well. I mean, at 40, he's minimum price. I want to say Tim Melia is also there. He's not in. I try to use him in my MLS, whatever pro or whatever the limited squad you can use. Because they change, right? You can't. Yeah. So whatever their price is here,
you lock them in at the price you buy, and then it changes after that. Yeah. So
yeah,
I don't know what Brady's current price is. I think it's a lot higher, but I'm gonna just. I think I'm kind of. It's kind of might be time to move on from Brandon By. I have a couple other diamonds in the budget here. I can get from 43 to 45. Let's just see what's out there for me in the defender ranks at 45 salary. Probably. I may or may not do a trade here. I don't know. Are you eyeing any trades as you get yours called up as I get down to the 45s here? Aaron Herrera, Ruan, Sean Nellis, Affle, Tim Parker, Dejanek. These are not names.
Ali Ahmed is not a bad one if you feel like he's going to start. I mean, he's pretty cheap, and he's been doing some good stuff. We talked about that Whitecaps matchup.
No, the last thing I want to do is get involved in Whitecaps rotation on my amateur draft. But none of these people really jump out at me except, I mean, if it was Aaron Herrera from previous years, it might be one thing. But how is he really scoring? It's not good. It's not good for Aaron Herrera. It's been better. It's been a lot better. As you can see, as we get some greens in the past there. I don't know. I think I'm going to keep Brandon by. It's I think it's a no swap week for me. So this is kind of how I've built my team. Like I said, I used to have Almada, but here is the squad I rocked last week. I rocked Barraza. Don't like him as much on the road this week, so I'm going to sub in Chris Brady. Now, like we said, Brady looking pretty decent for the clean sheet against the Red Bulls. Maybe. Sorry, let me call this back up. Sorry. Now, the big decision, I guess, would be Bai versus Tehran, both playing at home. Bai's bringing home the better scores lately. That a lot of his lower L15 is from this 29er that happened. So at home against Cincinnati, pretty decent matchup. I think I will go for him. It's really weird. The question, but it's like a no-brainer to stack your goalkeeper and a defender if you can, because you get that clean sheet correlation, right? And you get the clean sheet correlation, and what can you do? There's nothing better. You get two guys for the 2-point bonuses for the benefit of one, if you will. But instead, I think I got to go with Brandon Bai. Something tells me New England's got everything clicking. I like them at home. Cincy is sort of on a downswing. I don't necessarily love the Red Bulls matchup for the Fire as much as DraftKicks did, as he was saying. So who knows? I don't know. But I think I'm gonna go with Bai, man. I think it's Brandon Bai all the way. The rest of the team then gets kind of easy because obviously I'm going to play Brugman. Obviously I'm going to play Zelarayan. Obviously Dennis Bouanga has no game, so I can't play him. I could swap him out. Now with no game, I could swap Bouanga out, but why would I swap out Bouanga, who's elite? I think I'll just keep him. I like Swiderski to stay on the decisive hot streak. I love the matchup, even on the road against DC United. So this is going to be my squad. Easy peasy. No swaps, no scrubs needed. And I don't know, Schuyler, you're back.
Yeah, sorry. I think I had some. I'm not sure if I lost you there. I had some technical difficulties.
We had a slight technical difficulty, but the magic of this show is that we persevere. We come back. Yeah. You can't keep us down. So, what did you think of my decision to not stack defender goalkeeper and put Brandon Bai in instead of Carlos Tehran in this, both at home? Normally, you want the clean sheet correlation. I'm gonna tempt fate and not go for clean sheet correlation. Am I screwed? Do I have zero chance right now in MLS Amateur this weekend?
No, I think that looks good. I do think, I like the keeper defender correlation, but I also think that Bai pick is one he's been really good. Like even outside of hitting decisives, he's been pretty solid AA scores. And so I don't know. I mean, I feel like it's good to have some exposure to both of those games.
Yeah.
And that game could open up. I feel like that game could be couple of goals for each team. So
well, I hope not. I'm trying to get a Chris Brady clean sheet here. I did. Thankfully, we just double checked it.
Well, no, I'm talking about the Revs. The Revs.
The Revs. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Revs Cincy. Okay. Yeah.
I like Chicago's hopes at home against the Red Bulls, especially with Van Zier out. Attack has been looking a little lackluster. So
I'm glad we double checked this though, because I did just change my captain from Brugman to Zella. Obviously, Zelarayan, one of the best matchups on the board this weekend for anybody. We're running a little long here, and we do have the decisives to get to, but let's talk about your amateur drafts because I want to get your perspective and not just focus on myself.
Yeah, I'll pull it up. I actually already went ahead and set it before we did the show, so I'll just show what I've got. I don't know if I'll go back
the process.
And make another swap, but yeah, so we've got kind of the double pivot right here. I've got Bai in my lineup too. I feel like he's such a good asset up and down that right flank. And then Carlos Heel, the GOAT, he's my captain this week. Again, you mentioned it earlier, New England's been good. This could be a big pivotal game for them to kind of stamp their mark as one of the top teams in the East if they knock off Cincy. And then, Brady, he's minimum price. I want to say, let's see, I think, I picked up Melia too because I thought I might be able to squeeze him in.
I love it.
Yeah, so
You can't get enough Tim Melia in your life.
Yeah, and so I've got Heel, and then Savarino and Mukhtar, just two could be potential monsters playing at home.
Yeah, obviously. I cited that Nashville Atlanta game as one that I really liked for fantasy points for sure. RSL at home is starting to turn their season around a little bit, and the matchup for them is real nice as well.
Yeah, I mean, Savarino could be the one that if I do end up using a swap on, I might try to swap somebody out for a Sporting Kansas City guy. Like I mentioned, like, I don't know. I mean, do you want to run through it real quick and let me just throw out a swap? And
let's see what your options are, because I'm like president of the Savarino fan club. I do like him for his forward card, obviously. Oh, he's buying the extra swap. This is the second live exercise we've done on the episode here. It's
100 so coins.
Quick visit to the club shop for an extra swap. Tough to beat the cheaters in life, and here we are. Someone who's using his SoCoin advantage to steamroll all over smaller accounts. We really hate to see this, folks, but DraftKicks is doing it live on YouTube. So Savarino, you have the forward. You have him as forward. He has like some forward, some mid cards. So he's a guy I love as a forward, though. It's gonna be tough. Can you get to Buonga? Maybe he has no game this weekend, as we talked about. But
yeah, I mean, no game. Yeah, right at 63. I've got 71 in my bank right now.
Yeah,
so
you don't even need it.
I can afford whatever. But
hurt Vela. I'm going to be the anti-Vela guy, even as he continues to just bag home decisives nonstop.
I actually love Shalloway this week. If you end up with like 55 to roll with, then yeah, I think he's a guy that could easily turn up with a goal or two at home against Montreal. Love the spot for Sporting Kansas City. And so where's Polito? I mean, if you need a value pick, let's see where Polito is. Oh, 40. Yeah, there you go. Bare minimum.
I do love the spot, and I do know that the Sounders can be a tough matchup, but Sounders on the road are not as tough as Sounders in Seattle. And Savarino's hot right now. I don't fear Seattle even for a guy like Sava.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to go through with it, but I just wanted to kind of see what my options are. And yeah, I mean, if I even, let's say we drop Taxi, then yeah, I could pick up Polito and just roll him out instead. So,
well, there you go.
So yeah, I mean, there are definitely some values out there to be had. I'm not going to pull the trigger on it just yet, but I do.
You should do like a all min price challenge or something like that, you know. Like run a week in the MLS amateur draft where like you just run all minimum priced guys, something like that.
That might be fun going forward if we want to hit on some of the amateur draft stuff. Like maybe we can go through and just try to hit on some of the min price guys.
Yeah.
If you get to that spot, then hey, a guy like Polito min price, a guy like 10 million min price.
Go find him. I got my Chris Brady locked in at 40 diamonds. I'm not probably ever going to trade him in. So let's do definite decisives. It's time. The drum roll, please. Yeah, you had a good week, so you should be very excited to talk about this. You crushed it, to be perfectly honest, and I'm proud of you. You got 2 greens. Your second time going double green on a definite decisive week. It is as a show, we are back-to-back 50% hits on our definite decisives here, you know, although a lot of those are yellows, not greens. So that is what it is. But you carried the load for us this week. And Ache, if only he could have pulled one off, you would have finally had the first sweep of the season.
Yeah, not mad about it. What I was mad about is I was hunting for a Chicharito pre-lock. And that would have taken my all-star rare lineup even further. I think I mentioned I finished 200th. I had Sebastian Driussi in there, came through with like a 56, but Cheech scored a goal. He probably definitely would have helped me score something a little nicer than a Scotty McTominay, but at least I hit that definite decisive, right?
Right, exactly. The DD is what it's really all about. I had a rough spot. Araujo actually got the notification of a assist before they thought it was him, like really at first on Opta, and then it was quickly changed to Lennon who actually did it. So I thought I got a Araujo assist notification. I was like, yes, definite decisive, let's go. And it also helped me in a lineup as well. Unfortunately, didn't work. And then that son of a bitch, Dairon Asprilla, as he so often does, ruined my freaking could be clean sheet. Celentano had a good game since he won 2-1, but Dairon couldn't be denied, struck on the hour mark, and it ruined my day. So let's talk about this week. You got you're the hot hand. Why don't you give me your guaranteed goal?
Hey man, you're gonna witness it live in person. Christian Benteke, baby. He's scored a goal in Orlando this last week, and I've got a lot of exposure to him. I've got him across the board, super rare, rare, and limited. And so he's been in good form.
Good luck to your lineups, but I hope that Benteke just does nothing. I hope he runs around and does nothing for 95 minutes.
He's getting off shots. I feel like he's one of those guys that like DC feel like, hey, they're coming off a big win on the road. They're in a good spot at home to get another big win against Charlotte. Yeah, they've got some momentum rolling, and Benteke is the guy. If they get a PK, then he's taking it. Feel like he's got another goal coming up.
We don't know who the Charlotte goalkeeper will be. I mean, it's probably George Marks, but Kalina now has played. Kalina played a USL game, a Next Pro game, and then he played a U.S. Open Cup game. Surrendered a goal last night in the Open Cup. There was no Kalina sheet, unfortunately. It was a goal, a mini golazzo, but from outside the box. But yeah, I think the more I think about it, I think George Marks will start one more before Kalina comes back in the league, but we'll see. It could be Kalina on Saturday night, so we'll see. But Benteke, whoever it is, going up against Benteke, it's going to be a challenge, but I like their chances. My guaranteed goal is I love my wild cards. I love my stretches, and I could easily just throw Zelarayan out there. And I could easily just throw Cucho Hernandez if I knew for sure he would start. But since I don't know exactly who the striker is going to be, but I know that Columbus is going to score goals, I'm picking Matan to get one. I think shout out to Matan. He's balling out. He's having a really good season. Things are going well for him. He's part of like a really dangerous attack at all times. Couldn't get it done against Charlotte, but as you said, bounce back spot for the Crew. And I like Matan as my guy to get a goal. How about your assist?
I'm not gonna drag you on the Matan pick, but man, that's a bold pick there for a guaranteed goal.
I love my bold picks, baby. I'm trying to give people cards that are difference makers that they can say, Trippin told me to put this card in a lineup and it paid off. And that's what I'm shooting for. If I can help one person do that all year, it's worth it. Tell me about Tommy. I know you love KC this week.
Yeah, like the matchup at home against Montreal. I feel like Tommy's been underperforming. Like we saw what he could do last year in kind of limited fashion. He was scoring goals, assisting, and I don't think he's had one contribution. So like I said about Matan, if you want to drag me a little bit for this one, Tommy's been absolute garbage so far.
I can't drag you because I was preaching the gospel of Tommy. Anybody that would ask me in the offseason, they're like, who's an MLS midfielder to pick up for this next year? I was like, Eric Tommy's pretty good. Like you could, and I was like selling Tommy hard to anyone that wanted advice. So I can't really now come out and drag you for it. I believed in him and I was wrong. I was just as wrong. I do like that you're going to the well here. It's time to bring him back. I think I chose him. If I'm not mistaken, I think I chose him for a definite decisive earlier this year. Or maybe
it looks like I did.
You had him in 357. You had him as your automatic. No, it's fine. It's fine. I like the idea that like he could let you down multiple times in a year. I think that's great. So I had no problem with that.
Yeah, and with Polito back, it seemed like at least this last game, or maybe in some of the U.S. Open Cup too, he's been playing as more of a little bit of a false nine, it seems like.
Okay.
Maybe he's going to have a few more opportunities to be the provider, and he's still taking shots. He could turn up with a goal here instead of an assist. I don't know. I just feel like this is a good spot for Sporting KC. Johnny Russell, Eric Tommy, Polito, Shallowy, like play all your SKC here.
Get him in there. Get him in the lineups. My assist has got to go to Gressel. We talked about the Vancouver matchup. It's Gressel season. Time for I don't see any way he does not get involved in some way, shape, or form. He'll probably have at least 3 hockey assists. Hopefully, he gets 1 real assist. And I believe in Gressel. I know you and Julian were very close at one time and are not as close as you used to be after a few card sales. But I know that you would love to recapture that spark and rekindle that at some point if it became the right thing to do. And I think he's on the score sheet this weekend. What can I say?
Yeah. I think he definitely friend zoned me after I told him that I traded him for Bruno Fernandes, but
amazing.
But no,
yeah, that's
WrestleMania.
For sure.
Yeah, he's kind of eaten into some of Gald's value, right? But it's been a good move for the Gressel holders for sure, because he's picking up some of those extra set pieces,
right?
Extra opportunities for decisive. So I like the Gressel pick here.
Who needs the Scottish Messi when you can have the German American Messi? You know, that's what I say.
Right.
So, Tim Melia, you love him, you know him, you've wagered everything on him, and you're going to immediately go buy a super rare Tim Melia card as soon as we get done recording this show, and he's your could be clean sheet as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna pump some offers out there. Let me look back real quick, because I want to say I looked at Montreal's recent results. I want to say they've only scored like 1 goal in their last 5 or 6 games. Just absolutely
that's not good.
Yeah, absolutely awful.
Struggling.
And
they did get Bryce Duke involved.
Yeah, and they've been without Kyoto. So I think so they've lost their last 4 games by a combined score of 11-1. And that bodes well for Tim Melia getting a clean sheet here, right? Sporting Kansas City need a result, sitting at the bottom of the West right now, and this is prime opportunity for them to pick up a big win here.
He's probably leader in the clubhouse to be my cap rare, my 240 rare keeper for sure, and leader in the clubhouse to be my super rare 240 is Brad Stuver, who I'm also calling for a clean sheet. I love Stuve. You love Stuve. He's a good goalkeeper, but he's a better man. We've been saying that since the very beginning. They're at home this week, and I think that against the Quakes will come rested but reeling off that Open Cup flame out. And I like Stuve to get a clean sheet at home. He's a hero. He has a tough time keeping the clean sheet. As good as he is, clean sheets are hard to come by, but he's going to be in a high prio lineup for me for sure, because I think he bags this. I think he's given us the 75 plus this weekend against Quakes. What do you say?
I like it. That's another one of those matchups that when we were going through the odds check, then I like that. This is another team. Austin's just really been poor to start the season. This could be a spot for them to get a big win, and so I like that super pick.
I love it, baby. Well, thank you for supporting my pick. Thank you all who are listening and watching for supporting us. Thank you for jumping into Discord, keeping the conversation going and growing and flowing. And we love the people. One of my favorite things is the mix of like people who are club experts. We have people who are like super fans of their hometown clubs, mixing it up with Europeans who are just like staying up till midnight to watch these matches and like have this pure passion. So it's like this perfect mix of like hardcore locals, hardcore distance, and we come together in this chat room. So really cool scene that's building there. Come be part of it if you'd like. The link, like we said, should be in the description. Any last messages, DraftKicks, before we get out of here?
Yeah, we're MLS weirdos, right? We're it's like this is why we're doing it. It's a fun league to keep up with. You never know what's going to happen, and I enjoy it. I love keeping up with it. I've been in the MLS fantasy mix for several years now, and it never gets old. And so it's fun to see other people jumping in, kind of getting a little bit of the MLS vibe, getting some of that MLS craziness in their lives. And so I've said it before, it's fun to see the Discord kind of popping off, because not only I'm hoping that me and you can deliver some information here and there, but I'm picking up on stuff myself. And so
right.
If you're not in, then definitely jump in. Like even just little tidbits of information here and there is helpful. And it's been fun, guys. And so good luck this week. If I'm not at the top, hopefully it's Tripp. Hopefully it's one of you guys.
Shoot.
Good luck, fellas.
If I'm not at the top, I got 3 words for you. I don't know. Anyway, thanks everybody, and have a great weekend.